back to another video today. I'm going to see if I can get rid of some stone chips on the front of the Celica, just with a little bit of aerosol paint and some lacquer. So we'll grab some tools and we'll get started. Right, so I'll just go through what we're actually going to need to actually do the stone chips. First of all, we're going to clay the bonnet, just to clean it all off, make sure there's no contaminants on there, give it a nice fresh surface to work with. So I'll be using my Maguire's clay, which I've got in here. Into a bit of a need because it's nice and cold today again, so I'll be using that, and I'll be using a lube, which is just a detailing spray. I got this with the detailer subscription box at Christmas. So this is the old Santa sauce one. It smells of mint. It's quite nice. So I'll be using that to actually clean the bonnet first, and then we'll be using base coat of your colour of your car. My colour is Silver Streak 1E7. I've had this for a while. Did the side skirts with this. It's not a bad colour match, it's a little bit light, but with metallics you are going to get a colour difference anyway, unless you're using something a really dark colour, but we'll go into that in a little while. Clear lacquer, I don't need a massive amount, I've only got a little bit left in there. It's just a single stage lacquer. I've also got another one here, a car plan one, which is a cheaper one. It's not too bad, but a 2-pack lacquer would be better, either in an aerosol with the hardener in the bottom of the can, or an actual mixed up lacquer would be better. And we'll be putting the actual paint on with these applicators here, which are used for model kits, and they come with a little holder, little handle, and you have these little, you can see them on camera there, these little felt ends. I find it's a lot neater job than a paintbrush. You can either use it if you have really small ones, you can use a cocktail stick as well if you want to, but these are ideal for the actual job. So we'll be using these, and then after it's all done we'll probably go over with a polish and a light coat of wax. So I'll give you a closer look at the actual stone chips. You can see it's got quite a few here, it's quite pebble dashed. Some scratches here. We can see if we can actually cover these up, basically to try and stop rust getting in and water getting in as well, more than anything, because the nature of silver is, and then most metallics, especially lighter metallics, it's all painted in one direction, so all the actual metallics lay in one area. So if you put silver in now, even if it's a good colour match, it's going to look darker or lighter depending on where the metallics lay. But basically we're going to try and lessen them. But first of all, we'll give the actual bonnet a clay. It's pretty clean anyway, but I want to try and get a nice smooth clear surface before we start putting any paint down. There's lots of videos on YouTube showing you how to do claying, so it's a pretty simple process really. Just need your clay, don't need a massive amount, just a small piece. Get nice and soft. Take a while because this is cold today. Sorry about the wind noise as well. Remnants of the storm we just had last week, or 2 storms. So I like to use a piece about that size, give it a liberal spray, and I just like to use small movements just to clear the actual area. You'll be able to feel when it's clean as well. Well, like I say, it's pretty clean anyway, because I only cleaned this the other day. It's freshly polished, but just like I say, I want to get a nice clean surface before we do the stone chips. So I'll continue and do this all over the bonnet, make sure it's a nice clean area, especially along the front where most the stone chips are, and then we'll start applying the paint. It feels a lot better already. So now the bonnet's all clean, we're going to move on to the next stage, which is the bigger base coat. Give it a good shake as normal. And then all I like to do is spray a little bit in the lid. Like that. I'm going to take our little thing, we can then just dip into that little bit of paint there and put it into the stone chips. So we just dip the little felt pad in the paint, and then we just want to slightly just touch in the actual stone chip like that. I think we can pick this up on camera. I'll show you a closer look in a bit. Again, the colour match isn't too bad, so it's going to actually detract your eye away from the actual stone chips and protect the paint, which is the most important thing, stop it from rusting. So if there's a darker colour like the Nissan, the red, God forbid I got any stone chips on that, they'd touch in really easy and you'd hardly be able to see them at all. With being silver, it's one of the worst colours to actually do touch-ins and stone chip repair on. It's just the nature of the paint. Not too much paint, which shows only just a little bit. These, I tell you, these little things are a godsend. They're an ideal. It's so much easier than paintbrush. As you can see, it is hiding them a little bit. So it looks like if I push the paint forward, it goes lighter, it pushes all the metal flake in a forward direction. Hides it a little bit easier. It does actually need repainting on this whole bonnet actually. But my main reason for actually doing this is to stop rust forming. You don't want a massive amount of paint, just a tiny little drop. You don't want to be like a big mound of paint, imagine like a big bubble of paint. You want to try and keep it as level and as flat as possible, because then you go over with your clear, put a level clear on it, and then you can polish that in afterwards when once it's dry. Usually the next day is best. Improving it a little bit, because it'll detract you away from the actual black marks. But the darker the paint, or the more solid the paint, the easier this is. Just pushing the paint forward, just gives it a lighter. You notice if I go backwards that way, it's a little bit darker, some metal flakes actually going back on itself, but if I go forward, this gives the flake a little bit of a lighter look. It's not going to be an ideal match, but it's going to be close. So basically now we just do this all over the bonnet wherever you can. Then we'll let that dry. We'll do exactly the same process with a clean tip, with a clear coat. There's quite a few bad ones down here. You can see. That's one I've touched in previously. Quite a bad one actually. So it just cleans it up. And then we'll go over the top with the lacquer, and that should seal it all in. Help protect from the elements. If you get a really big stone chip, you can go over, let that with one coat of paint, let that dry, and then go over again. And that should build up your paint slowly. And there. Too much on that one. Delivering the milk. So after that little interlude from Woody, just going to do the exactly same process but with clear lacquer. A little pot. Just go over each one again. Just to seal them up. And then when this is dry, we'll go over the entire thing with a nice coat of polish just to help seal them in and level them out a little bit. Something like that. As you can see, it's not exactly perfect, but it just distracts your eye away from the actual stone chip. And protects the actual paint of this metal underneath. Not so much on the plastic, of course. On the metal underneath, stop it from rusting. So I'll continue all over with that again, and then we'll have a look at the final finished job. So that's improved it quite a lot, as you can see. Not too bad. Yeah, you can still see silver dots and things through here, but a lot better than it was. Just detracts your eye away from it. Like I say, it does need a complete repaint, this front bumper and bonnet really. That's something that's going to happen in a few years probably. But I'm pretty happy with how it's come out. So what I'll do is I'll let all that dry, and then what we'll do is we'll give the whole thing a machine polish, and that should level out some of the actual spots of lacquer. And then we'll put a bit of coat of sealer on there, and then a good coat of wax just to protect it. So I think you'll agree that's helped a little bit on the stone chips, improved it a little bit. Yeah, it's not perfect, you're never going to get it perfect without doing a proper sanding it back and repainting it, and then putting some protective film over it to stop actual stone chips happening, but it just helps improve the actual look of the actual finish of the bonnet and the front bumper. Because the paint on the actual car isn't all that bad. It's just the front bumper does need a repaint, so I may do that sometime in spring, summertime. Because I did the front splitter, you may have seen on another video, and that really needs some more attention. It's got a few little settle cracks in it and marks, etc. So I may do that and repaint the entire front bumper. But I'm happy how that's come out. So a few little tips there for you, especially using those little blue detailed paint brushes. So if you've liked this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.